MU says it could not have predicted the walkway collapse at University Village Apartments 2 weeks ago. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reed.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. Thanks for joining us. Now, this comes after the university released more than 1,000 pages of documents yesterday showing what it knew in the years leading up to that fatal collapse. KOMU 8's William Joy sat down with an MU official today, and he joins us live from University Village to tell us what he found. William?
After talking to an MU spokesperson today and going through more than 1,000 pages of reports and emails released by the university yesterday, we tried to answer the question of whether MU could have predicted and prevented the collapse that happened right here at Building 707 and took the life of a Columbia firefighter. Immediately following the walkway collapse at University Village, MU worked to secure the rest of the walkways in the complex. But documents released by the university show it was concerned about the walkways for more than a decade and that it knew renovations and repairs would not be enough.
We wanted to try and keep those buildings going for as long as we could. And obviously, if there were any life safety issues, we shut the buildings down.
In 2008, outside architects prepared a master plan for MU, saying, quote, renovation is not a reasonable alternative, and that there was, quote, significant structural damage and deterioration in all but 2 buildings.
We were working with the demands of the students, and that area is very popular, and we did not want to eliminate that potential option for our students.
The report also lists the decks as being a safety hazard. Documents show the university spent 2 years fixing decks they had structural concerns about while students continued to use them. The university says it regularly looks at and fixes the walkways.
Not only did we inspect the walkways, but in cases where we felt that we needed to make some improvements or to improve the structural aspect of those walkways, we did the work.
A work order shows the university spent $4,000 to repair concrete on the collapsed walkway just last year. But an investigation from an outside engineering firm hired by MU says the reason for the collapse was a concrete failure. MU says the firm told it on the phone that it would not have been able to predict the collapse that killed Lieutenant Bruce Britt. I reached out to THH, the engineering firm hired by MU, to see if they told the university that they said they couldn't predict the collapse, but they declined to comment and said the university would be handling all future statements. Reporting live in Columbia, William Joy, KOMU 8 News.
Do you have unanswered questions about the walkway collapse? You can tweet us your questions or visit our Facebook page and leave a comment. Then tune in at 10 o'clock tonight. KOMU 8's William Joy will answer some of those questions on air.
A developing story out of Randolph County this evening. A father and his 2-year-old son are dead. The father's car overturned into a creek off Highway EE by Moberly. The family says the 2 went missing yesterday and the father has a history of seizures. KOMU 8's Connor Wist joins us live at the scene to give us the details. Connor?
Here's an update of what happened leading up to now. At 3:30 this afternoon, John Clarity and his 2-year-old son's bodies were discovered and recovered here in this creek after a car crash off of Highway EE. Now, the car was traveling westbound, as you can see right behind me, and it crashed into the creek south side of the road. Here's a look at some new video of crews removing the car just a few minutes ago. MoDOT crews were the first to discover the crash. Crew members were fixing signs on the highway when they found the car submerged in the creek. Family members tell us John Clarity had a history of seizures, but a trooper on scene says Clarity's condition is unclear.
The only thing we know at this time is the vehicle traveled off the roadway. As to what caused it to do that, we don't know at this time.
The Highway Patrol just finished investigation. Stay with KOMU News for updates of this breaking news story and as it develops more. Reporting live here in Randolph County, Connor Wist, KOMU 8 News.
Court documents reveal new details about an apparent kidnapping that ended in Miller County. With a standoff, deputies arrested 39-year-old Scott Peoples after the 4-hour ordeal. Today, KOMU 8's Shay McAllister learned more about the story. She is here in the studio with the details.
I went to the Boone County Courthouse earlier today and got a hold of these documents, the complaint against Scott Peoples and the probable cause statement. Scott Peoples is charged with 2nd-degree domestic assault, kidnapping, and forcible sodomy. According to this statement, Peoples woke the victim and immediately started beating her. The victim says he then restrained her with duct tape, gagged and choked her, and raped her. Next, she says he forced her into the backseat of a vehicle and took her to the location of the standoff, where he continued to sexually assault her. The victim escaped and called authorities. The victim told authorities a juvenile was left alone in the Columbia home that the two shared. When officers went to the Columbia house, they reported the juvenile was not harmed. They also reported that they found blood and duct tape in plain sight. Peoples is in the Miller County Jail. To see the documents, visit our website at komu.com.
A Mid-Missouri domestic abuse shelter told us today it is still not seeing reported replacement funds from the state. Safe Passage in Moberly says it needs that money after the Missouri House Development Commission rejected 15 grant applications from domestic violence centers in rural Missouri. MissouriNet reported that Columbia Rep. Chris Kelly said the Nixon administration promised to find funds for the shelters, but Safe Passage co-director Kelly Pettigo says she hasn't received anything from the state yet.
It's my understanding that there is very strong support by several legislators to try to locate replacement funds. This is great, but there's nobody that has that type of power that can just replace those funds. It has to go through the entire legislative process.
Pettigo worries how long that process will take. She says Safe Passage only has enough money for the next 2 months.
Mizzou's head football coach is getting a raise. Athletic director Mike Alden announced today Gary Pinkel will get a $300,000 increase. Last year, Pinkel made $2.8 million. This year, it will total $3.1 million. His salary is broken down into 6 different categories: base salary, apparel, radio, television, boosters, and camps. The amended contract not only increases his salary, it adds 3 years, keeping Pinkel at Mizzou through 2020.
School districts across the Show Me State are implementing new learning standards that try to make students think more deeply and explain how they got their answers. Missouri began using the Common Core standards in 2010, and the state will roll out the first Common Core test next school year. KOMU 8's Nick Thompson joins us in the studio to explain what districts are doing this spring to prepare. Nick?
Well, the MAP tests are synonymous with springtime, but next year schools will have to ditch the pencil and paper tests in favor of computerized English and math exams. Here's a sample math question which requires the student to solve the problem and then type out an explanation of their answer. Today I learned some local students will take practice exams this spring, which will help districts see if they're ready. 5 Columbia schools and 4 Jefferson City schools will take the practice tests. Jefferson City tells me the practice test will reveal if the district has enough technology.
One, you want to make sure that your students know how to use the technology, and kids today are pretty tech savvy. But simply having enough iPads and computers in the classroom for them to take the test, making sure that we have the capacity as far as our bandwidth is concerned.
Many Republican lawmakers oppose the standards, saying they take control away from local school boards, teachers, and parents. Today, St. Louis County Senator John Lamping told me Republicans are trying to pass a bill to block Common Core implementation.
It's finally starting to really warm up out there, so let's send it over to Rosie to look at what's in store for the weekend.
Thanks, Brittany. Looking back on this work week so far, we've done nothing but improve. Sunday into the teens. Top temperatures this afternoon into the 50s. You can see our warmer temperatures, though. Those are located over on the left-hand portion of your screen out to our south and west. We want to advect those temperatures this way, get an even bigger warm-up coming here for Friday, and it looks like it's going to happen. The rest of tonight, with a ridge of high pressure in control, just looks like crystal clear skies. We do have a couple of bumps in the road as far as your weekend forecast is concerned, though, including our next chance of precipitation. So I'll give you a better breakdown as to what you can expect in your next 8 days in total, coming up in just a few minutes.
An idea that didn't take off years ago could soar soon. An inside look at the new Chicago flight coming to Columbia. We'll be back after the break. Stay with us.